Hi, my name is Sean Smith and I'm a leadership mentor. Today I want to discuss with you a simple fact is what is leadership? Well, not so much what it is or what's the definition, because everybody has a definition of leadership, or what is the science of leadership, but what is it really about? What is leadership really about? What is your leadership about? Why does it matter to you, and why does it matter to your business? Somebody said leadership is influence, but leadership is so much more than influence. Leadership is about impact. Impact is about getting results. If a leader is not getting results, then you're not in leadership. Leadership is about making an impact, because leaders do that. They get results and have an impact. That's what leadership is. Secondly, leadership is about influence. Leadership is about taking people on a journey to empowerment, to engagement, a journey of being equipped, a journey of accomplishing something, fulfilling a cause, becoming more than they are right now. That's what leadership is about. Leadership is also about inspiration. Leadership is about being able to communicate clearly with focus and clarity. What is your vision? What is the task that's involved? What is your passion? What is your passion about what you're involved in? That's what leadership is about. Impact, it's about influence, and it's about inspiration. Now, I one day sat down and I began to think about those three areas, and I thought, how does a leader get impact, inspiration, and influence? And when I looked at it, I began to see these three things, or a number of things involved here. And one is your mission as a leader, your leadership, and then your relationships. And I began to see that when you combine a clear cause and a clear mission with your leadership, you begin to have impact. And when you combine leadership with relationship, you begin to have inspiration. And when you have leadership and you have a mission, you have influence. And so, we need to combine all three of those things to have an impact as a leader. Now, ultimately, leadership is about results. Really, is there's too much fluff in the concept of leadership that's being fed to us. Really, leadership is about getting results. So you need to lead your team, you need to lead your enterprise, you need to lead yourself to results, because if you're not leading, then you're not getting results. And if you're not getting results, there's no leadership. You can manage well, which means you manage your resources. But if you don't have leadership, then you're not getting the results. You're not moving forward at all. So, but it doesn't start there. Leadership doesn't start there, just getting results. It starts with getting grounded as a leader. It means that you need to have a focused branding. You need to be branded as a leader. Especially in small leadership, small business leadership, or small business ownership, you soon discover that you are selling you. You are marketing you. You are the first brand. You are the brand that needs to connect into the enterprise. So you need a clear, focused personal brand for you as a leader within the context of your enterprise, of your business, of whatever you're involved in. You are the brand. That's practical, focused branding of you. And then there's some things involved in that. You've got to know where you're going. You've got to be clear on what you stand for. You have to have an absolute clarity on what is your uniqueness, what is your value that you bring, because otherwise you're all over the place. And when you are clear and have focus in that area, you really make an impact in your team and in the stakeholders' lives around you, in your world, because you're able to, with clarity, communicate passionately who you are to that industry, market, or whatever you are leading into. And then secondly, you need a clear strategy. You need to know who you're dealing with, who your competitors are, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what are your threats, what are your opportunities, how to deal with them, how to break it down in implementational, actionable steps, things that you can do, key things that you can do to move you forward constantly. And, if you're thinking that, I'm so small, I don't need a strategy. Let me tell you something. Even if you are just an individual, you need a strategy. Strategy is so important to keep you moving forward, because strategy is about, where do you want to go? Where are you now? And how are you going to get there? So that's why you need strategy. Strategy is that path that takes you to the future that you desire and that you want to see. The place where you get results and you see an outcome, strategy takes you there. So you need a clear strategy. You also need effective communication. You've got to be able to communicate effectively who you are, what your strategy is. Many times what we do, what leaders do and business leaders do, is they set a strategy, but they've got no buy-in, they've got no ownership, they've got no alignment to their direction, their strategic direction. And so it's all real to the leader, but to everybody else, to the team, to the employees, and to the stakeholders, nobody cares, because it's not mine, I don't know, I don't care. And so you've got to effectively be able to communicate where you're going, why you're going, and how you're going, how you're going to get there. You just have to have an effective communication plan to engage your team. And then you need high performance team building, where you actually can pull a team together, get the right team together, on board the right people who are aligned with you, who actually begin to buy into the strategic direction, who have get on the same page as you, and you're able to engage them to in fact believe in and own the cause that you're involved in. It's so much more. Leadership is not just a product and a service and going out and knocking on doors and selling something. That's why something like 50% of new businesses fail within the first 2 years. Simply because, I've got a product, I've got a service, I've got an idea, I'm going to knock on a few doors and make some money. That's not leadership. That's never going to get you there. That's why from the day that you get the idea, you need to start planning your leadership, start taking leadership. You say, well, I don't have a team, I don't have employees. That doesn't stop you from being a leader. You still need your leadership. Vital, because you're leading you. Even if you start with your personal branding and have a clarity about your message, that is where it starts. You can't market what you don't know. You can't communicate if you haven't settled and got yourself grounded in who you are and where you're going and what you're about. So clarity is very, very important as a leader. So you need to build a high performance team. If you're going to pull people around you, how are you going to do that? Who is your team? And that takes engagement. That takes a strategy to engage your team so that they feel like they are part of what you're doing, so that they are committed and aligned with what you're doing and where you're going. Take strategy, and strategy is a leadership principle that you've got to have as part of where you are going. So none of this works if you're not grounded as a leader. You can have all of this going, but none of it works. You need to understand what is important and why. I mean, foundationally, just the bottom line, to be grounded as a leader, you need to know what is important to you and why is it important. Otherwise, you get pulled in so many different directions because of the distractions that are around you. You need to have be grounded in accountability and alignment, of which I've mentioned before, so that you stay on track. You've got to be accountable to something, otherwise you'll be all over the place, so you've got to have accountability built in for you and then for your team. And as you onboard your team, they need a path of accountability. Secondly, you've got to have that alignment. So are you aligning with where you want to be going? Constantly, are you able to measure yourself every day? You've got to be able to measure yourself with a strategic direction every day, with what is important and why it's important. What are you doing? What are your priorities? Are you focused on the things that matter most? Have you set yourself the priorities that get you moving in the right direction all the time? That is important. And so the other thing is, of course, you've got to be focused. Despite the numerous distractions that you have as a leader, you've got to be focused, and that takes discipline. That takes a plan. That takes a map. That takes measuring out some things that you really, really need. And so it's important to ground your leadership in the most important areas where you need to have clarity and focus. You need to map out those things and be grounded in that as a leader. And we're going to talk about tomorrow. I'm going to put out another video, and we're going to talk about the critical areas that you need to move you forward. What are those areas to get you really grounded? What are the critical areas of your leadership? So, the question is, how many crises do you face and have to address every day? The question is how many demands are on your time to distract you from achieving your real goals? What is really, really important to you? And from handling your vital responsibilities. What are you facing every day? How many demands, how many things are pulling you in different directions? Every day you wake up, sit at your desk, you sit in your office, you might be waking up and going, what am I going to do now? There's like 1,000,001 things I've got to address. So you run around and trying to put out fires and address little things and handling customers and handling situations and staff issues. And it's just like 1,000,001 things. How do you face those things? You face unfathomable pressures every day. I mean, small business is just like overwhelming sometimes. Somebody said, nobody understands what it's like to lead a small business. And that is the truth. That is the truth, because you have to wear so many hats. Your market and industry is in rapid change all the time. It's changing rapidly, dynamically. And you need clarity in the midst of change, clear clarity. Your clients and customers are more demanding and expect more and are less forgiving. You're just dealing with a very educated, very informed client base today. And so, they demand, expect, but forgive less. And it's so easy for them to share what you're about. And so you need employees, or you're facing employees rather, that are less loyal, and you need to onboard team members that actually believe in what you're doing, that are aligned with what you're doing. Your competitors are more hounding and more innovative than ever before. Everybody is vying for the pie. I mean, everybody. And so there's an attack mode. There's no scruples. So you're facing all of these things. So now it becomes harder to keep track of the priorities that really matter, or that really work for you as a leader. Your enterprise, for you as in your organization, in your department, for you as a person. And you need that focus that keeps you moving in the right direction. And you can have that. You've been in the meetings and the training sessions where you sit with a file with a load of information and you just get fed by monologue, what you need to know and what you need to learn and what you need, and so you sit there for a few days and you just get fed and there's no implementation. You don't leave there with a clarity of, this is what I need to implement. This is what I need to do right now that gets me focused, that gets me results. And I saw that. I've been in those meetings. Have you? I've been in those training sessions, and I leave and I think, it's interesting. I got lots of information. I studied. I went to college to get more. And I studied what? Management. I learned how to manage resources. I learned how to manage, marketing and manage the resources. I learned, all those things, but there was no implementation of my leadership, of what steps to take that will move me forward as a leader, that will help me engage my team. They just taught me management principles. And you don't manage a team. You lead a team. You manage things. And so, that was my struggle. When I went to the United States, somebody then invited me one day and said, hey, listen, will you come speak to a bunch of business guys? And but please, do you think you can involve them in more practical stuff? So I began to think about this and I thought, you know what? Let's change the format. Let people own what they're doing. Let them set the pace. They know their industry, they know their department, they know themselves. They know, I don't know where they're going and what they want to accomplish. So why don't I design a format to help them see it clear, where they actually are mapping out their leadership. I'm not standing in the front and mapping it for them because I don't know the industry. I don't know them. And so I started with simple little things because, as I grew in it, and it was very successful. People began to map out and take home a map of a blueprint of focus for their leadership, a strategy for themselves. And then a few years back, I found a process, a Fortune 500 process, tried and tested, true process of what are the vital elements that they use to get impact results and see their leaders actually achieving more. So I got involved in that, and I ended up with some proprietary methods or processes that I can help leaders actually get traction quickly, get results, and see their leadership effective very quickly. And because, I don't know about you, but I just not interested in fluff. I don't think we have time for fluff. Today, as leaders, you have to accomplish more with less. There's greater demand on you. There's this place, I sat at dinner one night and I was talking to a tech leader, and he leads a team, and he was explaining to me what's going on, how he has to engage that team, and they really struggle with how to engage this high performance, and not high performance, but this highly skilled, I think is the better word, highly skilled teams who are skilled in what they do, but they don't know how to engage. And engagement to me is up, down, and sideways. And so this is what I've understood and began to see. And as I began to speak to him, he said to me, one of the biggest needs is how to engage your team so that they own and move in the same direction as you. And so, out of that, I began to see the process that we actually need to address things. So, you don't want to be scattered as a leader. You need to really be grounded. You need to be focused, but you also need to be calm. You've got to learn to deal with frustration. And frustration comes because you've got no map. So you need to be calm, you need to be resilient. I'm telling you, one of the vital, critical elements that a leader has to have today is resilience. The ability to just stick it out. But you can't stick it out if you don't know where you're going, if you're not grounded. And a leader needs to be powerful today. So wouldn't it be nice, wouldn't it be powerful to have that grounding for your leadership as a business leader? Wouldn't it be great to have something where you wake up in the morning and you can actually know with clarity, what are you communicating? Knowing your team is not confused, they're actually on board with you, all moving in the same direction. They actually believe in it, they own it, they're aligned with it, they have strategy for it, and they're feeding into it. Everybody's on the same page. Wouldn't it be great to have that whole map in one page with quick results where you don't have to sit forever and a day? I'm telling you, there's a place that you can get where you can just establish that, where you can get grounded like that. So, that's what I want to share with you today. You can, as a business leader, get yourself grounded. And I'm going to be sharing with you over the next couple of days exactly how to get grounded. Now, right above me is the link. Book yourself onto the webinar, because on Thursday, on the Thursday the 13th, I'm going to be running a webinar on how small business leaders can boost their leadership to boost their income and their influence. That's what it's about. It's about results. No fluff. We're going to be focused on how to get results and how to get it quick. I'm not, everything is instant. Everybody wants to be instant today. There's no instant, but there's definitely a fast track on how you can fast track these things.